It's advantage Chelsea. They practically secure a top four position and Champions League football for next year. Leicester City, no real energy, no real fight. A big game tomorrow now for Liverpool. They simply must beat Burnley to stay within the top four Champions League football hunt. The Premier League continues to give us drama, excitement, and ecstasy. Hit that like button. Share the stream on your social media platforms. Make sure you subscribe. This is the Football Terrace. This is the phone-in show. Hit that like button again. Let's go, people. Chelsea pick up the 3 points tonight. A well-earned 2-1 victory. The only real blemish and only smudge tonight on the performance from Chelsea was that silly goal to concede on the 76th minute to Kelechi Iheanacho. But overall, a solid performance, more energy, more tenacity, better work rate, better quality tonight from Chelsea. They put themselves third in the league. They create a nice buffer between themselves and Liverpool of 4 points. Yes, Liverpool have that game in hand, but Chelsea all but they're secured now. Last game of the season, fairly simplistic for them. They've got that confidence back. They were excellent tonight. Should have had a penalty for a foul on Werner. Werner should have scored from 2 yards out of his head as well. By far the better team. Bodied Leicester City tonight. Excellent performance. All the pressure is now upon Liverpool. And then it'll be a shootout on the final day between Liverpool and Leicester City for that final Champions League spot. Big up John over here on Give Me Sport, who says, up Chelsea Football Club. Great team play. Another comment here on Give Me Sport says, how about their last match? Liverpool wins the next two and Liverpool win. Do you really see that happening? If you look at the quality of Chelsea under Thomas Tuchel, they're not losing very many games. They're not losing very many games at all. And you know what we saw? We saw defeats to Arsenal and to Leicester in the FA Cup, but they were games where they just weren't finishing their chances or being quite clinical enough. But Chelsea will come good. There's no doubt about it. Daniel here with Super Chat says, if Liverpool beat Burnley, final day will be interesting. Chelsea could still finish fifth. They could. But do you see that happening? I know what the implications could be, but will they do that? Will they do it? That's the big question I want to ask of you all today. Genuinely, do you think that will happen? See here says, I'm legit in tears seeing the teams stand up for each other. It did get very hairy towards the end. Lots of kicking off, lots of pushing and toing and throwing. But it doesn't matter. It was Leicester really that let themselves down in that scenario. Abdi Omar says Kovacic was and is the second best player currently at Chelsea. Grey Wolf Dinner says, never thought I'd say this, but I'm rooting for Liverpool to beat Leicester to the top four, is what Grey Wolf Dinner has got to say. Paul Ross says, I will cry more, revenge at its finest. And that's the big question I want to pose to Chelsea fans right now. First big question of the night, and I want your super chats and I want your live comments on this. Do you now feel better after losing the FA Cup final? Legitimately, of course you wanted to win the FA Cup final, but you wouldn't have swapped those two results. Chelsea Football Club, Thomas Tuchel has said it, Champions League qualification is more important to you as a club. It's definitely more important to Thomas Tuchel's job than winning the FA Cup. How are you now feeling about it? Yes, you'd love both. But if you could only have picked one, which would it be? I feel like tonight meant a lot more to Chelsea fans, judging by the reaction across social media. VAR tried to help Leicester once again, but Chelsea are miles above those peasants. Shots being fired there. Leicester fans, how are you feeling about tonight's performance? We're going to be going to some of your calls very, very soon indeed. I want to hear from you. I want your thoughts and I want your feelings on this. Yeah, Terry, they can keep their FA Cup is what Al says. There we go. There we go. But Chelsea put themselves into that, as I say, that prime position. And the question to you is tonight, have Chelsea done enough now in your eyes to secure that top 4 place? They're on 67 points, 4 points clear. They've got it's the goal difference as well, which makes them stand out. The superior goal difference is practically an extra point going into that final day of the season. The last match is Aston Villa. You've got Leicester that are going up against a tougher team in Tottenham. Liverpool do have the easier games, but you've got the superior goal difference of 3 over Leicester City. So, for instance, even if it depends what happens. If Leicester win and you lose, then maybe. But when it comes to Liverpool are still going to be, if they win their game in hand, a point behind. I suppose you could. If they lose their last game of the season, Chelsea, it's done. But I think it's over with. I think it's done. I think it's dusted. I think Chelsea have got themselves into that position. Their record under Thomas Tuchel, since he arrived, if that is when the league begun, they would be top of the league. They're too good. They're too good to fall away from this point. Gabriel says VAR pimping out more than the Kardashians and Meghan Markle. Yes, they just have to beat Villa is what's being said here. And that's the question. We had another super chat that I went past from Paul Ross that says, I'm still worried about Champions League, though. Expand on that, Paul. I want to know what you mean by you're still stressed about it. I want to know what you mean. I want to know what you mean. I want to know what you mean right about now. Oh, I see what the problem is. Sorry. I see what your problem is with the title. I will get that updated. I will get that updated right about now because I can see what people's issue with that is. I'll get that done while I'm live on the air. Make sure you're hitting that like and that share button. Let me just go back again. Sometimes meant to be a damn question. But I didn't put a question mark on it. Hang on a sec. There we go. There we go. That's better. People can stop crying now. There we go. That's better. That's better. We put the have there as well. So at least that's done now. Let me just, I'm going to update it both on Facebook as well because it does seem a lot of people are upset with the way we've titled it. So I'm doing it again. There we go. That's updated for you now. If you refresh your streams or actually the post, then it should be fine for you. I want to know what you mean. There we go. Cool. Let's get us some more of your comments that are coming through here. Total domination by Chelsea until Leicester scores. Yeah, but I still felt you were okay after that point. I still felt like you were okay after that point. There we go. There we go. What is it? Josh here on the Give Me Sports says, finally, it's synced in. It wasn't so much that. It's more people didn't. It's the way you phrase things. The word have was missing and a question mark. It didn't get typed out right, but people can relax a little bit. People are very, very pernickety. I think it's done. Do you think Chelsea have secured that now? Let's do some more of your super chats that are coming through. That brawl was exactly what we needed. It showed that we have the mentality to get things done. Is what Arjan believes. I hear you on that one. That if Liverpool needed Alisson to beat West Brom, I hear you on that one. I do hear you on that. We're going to start going to your calls really soon. We're going to share the link for you to dial in and have your say this evening. Right, I'm just making a few things I've got to update here. Sorry, I'm struggling on my own tonight. I'm having a bad night. Bean here says, Brendan, top 4, bottle job Rogers. Do you know what's funny? If he hadn't have won the FA Cup at the weekend, he'd definitely be getting called a bottle job right now because that performance was lackluster. But he'll get a free pass on that one. There's no doubt about it. Jeffrey here says, I am super sure Chelsea have secured the position. Well, let's see what happens tomorrow night. I mean, if Liverpool lose to Burnley, I mean, that would be unthinkable. But if that was to happen, legitimately, if that was to happen, it'd be game over. Absolute game over. It'll be done. Literally only needed a draw I hear you on that. Harrison says, Terry, it's almost as if United aren't the only good team struggling to win games towards the end of the season. City lost, Liverpool struggle, Leicester struggle. Listen, I do understand that. I actually didn't realize. I knew Man United's home form was poor because I saw our statistics. It wasn't until I looked at the home form table I realized literally only City and now Chelsea, after winning today, have got better home form this season than us, and it's only marginal. I was like, Jesus Christ! I thought our home form was bad, like awful, until I saw everybody else's. But there we go. Let's keep moving forward to what's being said here. With rumours surrounding Harry Kane, do you think Chelsea can sign him? I think it's a tough one because of the history, but money talks. I tell you what tonight does tell me, though. You won tonight, which is great, but Timo Werner isn't it. Timo Werner isn't it. Literally isn't it. Yes, he should have got a penalty, and I want your thoughts and opinions on that, but he ain't it. You need better than that. Whether it's, remember we interviewed earlier on today a journalist and a Belgian football expert who spoke about the fact that Chelsea have been in conversations for many months now with the representatives and agent of Romelu Lukaku to try and get him back to Chelsea this summer. He declared it's quite open that it's Lukaku's dream to return. It's his first love, and he feels like he's got unfinished business and he wants to come to Chelsea. So there's huge possibilities. There's no doubt about it. You need a proper striker at Chelsea Football Club. Mr. Anthony here says, Terry, TT said this at the beginning. Possession-based football can also be a sort of defense. If you keep it, others can't do anything. Well, yeah, if you have the ball, your opponents can't score. That is a fact. Craig here says, still not safe, though. That is very, very true. That's why we're asking you the question. Do you think Chelsea have done enough now to secure it? They've got a 4-point cushion over Liverpool. Liverpool do have that game in hand. This is about you giving your opinion. We all know what the facts are. We all know what the maths are. But this is about giving you, the fans, the chance to have your say. We're going to share the link very, very soon for you to come on and have your say. I'm not too sure where the rest of the crew are. David's there. You know what? There's too much chat that happens in the group chat. I don't think people half the time know where the link goes. Let me just resend it with them now. And I'll be sharing the StreamYard link for you to join in very, very soon. Right, just making sure they've got that. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Right, let's do some more of these comments here. Lukaku should come back indeed. I hear you on that. A lot of Chelsea fans think that. There's no doubt about it. Abdi here says Liverpool won't even beat Burnley. Now, that is a big claim. We will see. We will see. Second wrapped up for Man United. That's true tonight. That's one good little thing to come out of this. Man United now have secured second place after Chelsea did that tonight. So fair enough. I know that means KJ is going to be happy tonight because he was a bit stressy about that earlier on today. Remember, if you are watching over on Give Me Sport, remember to come and check us out over here at the Football Terrace. We're partnered with Give Me Sport moving forward. So come check out our YouTube channel. You'll be seeing a lot of our content between now and the end of the season, through the summer, and then at the beginning of the 2021-22 campaign. But get yourselves across to the Football Terrace. The link is in the description of the stream you're watching. Come and subscribe to us over there if you would be so kind. We're going to go to some of your calls now. We've got Daniel and David backstage. First up, we're going to get David on to have his say. David's a Chelsea fan, if you don't know. Congratulations on the win tonight, mate. Hard fought in the end, but a comfortable performance, would you say?
It's painful to watch. It's a lot of pain. Like, it's not the bad football. It's the fact you just can't finish any of your chances. Like, your strikers can't score. Your midfielders aren't picking up the right passes. When they do, it's everything just seems like it's like just slightly off. But we're getting there as a team. We just clearly need improvements in certain areas, which are quite obvious. So yeah. But 3 points is 3 points.
Yeah, I mean, and that's it. This time of the season, I always say to people, you all want that utopia football. Do me a favor and shut your Discord for me, please.
Oh, sorry. I heard it in my earphones. I was thinking, can Terry hear it as well? Like,
everything through my mixer, bro. I can hear the whole thing. I feel like you want the great football, you want the comfortable performances, you want the big victories. But actually, this time of the season, just go back historically and look at most teams. It's 1-0s, 2-1s, now Barton last fight. It's why Fergie coined the phrase squeaky bum time. It's like this. And, after 2 defeats on the bounce to Arsenal and Leicester, it was so important to bounce back tonight because a defeat this evening, and you remember you were behind Leicester at this point. Liverpool have had it even easier. You're almost there now, as you say. You've got that 4-point cushion. Let's wait and see what happens tomorrow night against Liverpool. But how confident are you now at securing top 4?
I said after Man City, if we're still in the top 4, we'll finish in the top 4. So I'm still very confident. I think we'll beat Aston Villa. Aston Villa a couple of weeks ago was a tougher challenge, but Jack Grealish has been out and their season's kind of just like faded away, and they're now in 11th with nothing really to fight for. So I think we should be okay. Plus, again, just one good day of finishing, one good day and we'll be fine. Just want one good day, maybe 2 for the Champions League final. But one thing this game did show me is that I'm really not confident for this Champions League final. I'll still back them, but like, like Terry, if you watched me during the game, like if there was a watch song and you saw me, like it would have got cancelled because I'm just shouting at the TV.
I was keeping my eye on backstage as well, and you and Daniel were like certainly going at it today. I wasn't too sure what it was you were actually roaring about.
It was about. So what I'm saying is that I thought that Mason Mount was better than. No, I thought that Timo Werner at the point we started talking about it had a better game than Mason Mount because it was just slightly after the penalty. And then obviously his performance got worse and worse as time went on, but he still tried and he won the second penalty. So yeah, that was good. But Mason Mount getting man of the match, an absolute joke. They need to really stop gassing him up. So now because he wasn't man of the match, he wasn't close. I really didn't think. I thought Rudiger was head and shoulders better than him, and Rudiger got the crucial goal. Didn't think Mason Mount was man of the match. Really did not.
You're really not too much of a fan, are you?
I don't. The problem I have with him is that he gets into really good positions, and that's fantastic. Like he's really good at it. And then when he gets there, he'll pick the wrong decision, or he'll just rush it, and then he'll miss the target. Like he'll miss his target of what he wants to do, and it's just really frustrating. And then the commentators all the time are just like, "Oh, he's the danger man. He's this, he's that, and he's fantastic. He can't do any wrong." It's like, just watch the game objectively. I'm not saying Mason Mount was awful. It's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that he clearly was not man of the match. Very clearly wasn't man of the match. So yeah.
You don't like him, do you?
I don't think it's him. I think it's everything around him that annoys me about him. So it's the constant, like, he can't do any wrong. Our social media team really annoys me all the time. They like every single post is about him. Like his dad pipes up a lot. Like, just be quiet, please. Like everything surrounding him just really annoys me.
Right.
And it just kind of ends up on him because he's the player on the field. So yeah.
I do hear you with that. Listen, we'll get back on in a little while, mate. But David is not liking Mason Mount tonight and the love that he gets on social media. Next on the show, Daniel's here. Daniel's a Chelsea fan. What you saying, mate?
Good, man. I said already that didn't care about performances right now. It was all about getting the 3 points, which we did get today. I didn't see us losing twice to Leicester, so I'm happy the team at least proved me right there. But I mean, it's more of the same, really. Clinical edge. This team lacks clinical edge, lacks the ability to finish off games. I think the expected goals today was about over three. It was 3.1 or something like that. So again, you just know that the team's wasting a lot of chances. Timo Werner proven once again that he's not our number 9 to be going forward. Just reminding us constantly, like, do you know? It's almost like. He reminds you so much that he's not an out-and-out striker and finisher. It gets annoying. It's almost as if like your kid reminding you he wants this gift, and you're like, "Yeah, I know. Stop telling me like you're that bad at finishing." And that's literally what Werner does for me, man. But do you know what? I'm not a Werner. I think Werner does add a certain dimension to the team. He will start in the final, for example. But yeah, man, there's no need. I personally think there's no need to overanalyze the game. The main thing I wanted to say is that David has a Mount agenda. So how can you be a Tory and not like Mason Mount? It really doesn't go hand in hand, David. So come on, man. You gotta do better. But now, in all seriousness, the reason why I know he's got an agenda is because he literally said, yeah, that Kovacic was having a better game than him when he came on, and then Kovacic literally makes a mistake. And then I'm like, bro, come on, let's not do this. I agree. Mason Mount wasn't man of the match. I think Rudiger should have been man of the match. I thought Rudiger was excellent once again and has been excellent. There's no coincidence. I think we've only lost one game when he started. I think that was the stat that they put up. But all in all, when you talk about the attackers, Mount was the best attacker again today, and he has been consistently this season. That's why he was our player of the year. Werner, I think, bar the penalty, a couple of runs, offside in numerous occasions again, which will kill us in the final, especially with Man City's high line and whatnot. He really needs to snap out of that. Pulisic, I think, was very, very poor. And Pulisic, I feel like it was an audition today to start in the final, and I don't think he passed the test for that today at all. He was very, very dreadful. Like, he was poor. So, boy, it's going to be a big decision for Tuchel to see what front three he goes with. Mount's a shoo-in. I don't know, and Werner probably starts, but then I don't know who that last spot goes to.
I'm about to lose a super chat if I don't do it now. It's from Guyan at 29, who says, "Order restored. The fans were amazing tonight. Hopefully, I'll get the chance to experience it one day. New York is great, but it's not known for football." Timo Werner, man of the match, is who he gives it to, which is, like, do you know what the irony was? The penalty you actually got, I didn't think was a foul. I actually thought that one was quite weak. But you know what sometimes happen? I think sometimes refs, they chat at half time and they're like, "Oh, we messed up, you know."
Yeah. Facts.
Look for an opportunity later on down the line to give it, and they did, and everything else. But yeah, there's lots of decisions to be made between now and the final. And you know, we spoke earlier on tonight. I mean, I opened my big mouth. I was really critical of Man United and spoke about mentality leading up to finals and how, look at City, they're a player down and 1-0 up, and they're showing us how they went and lost. And it's sort of like, it's the kind of lead up to the final of the Champions League for Chelsea and Man City. Neither are really having a great end of the season. And I suppose that must be a good feeling for both, to know that it isn't one particular team that is out like miles in front of the other in relation to that. So it's, for me, it's going to be an amazing, there's 11 days left now of the football season. It's going to be brilliant. I'm going to get you and David back on a bit later to have a bit of a head-to-head over this Mason Mount thing, because I think it needs to be discussed in more detail. We'll speak to you again soon, mate. Everyone watching on YouTube, we've shared the link. We'll share it again now in the comment section, and to everybody on Give Me Sport if you want to phone in and have your say. Paul Ross says, this is what will happen. This is what will happen. We call for Harry Kane and comes to us, or Lukaku, another flop that's always a worry. Playing in Italy is nothing compared to the Premier League level. Timo Werner is piff. I don't know. Timo Werner, I felt really sorry for him tonight. Legitimately felt sorry for Timo Werner tonight, because that miss where it hits his hand, it wasn't even the fact he missed it with his head and hit his hand and went in, right? Why did he celebrate like that? Because I know someone said to me, Maradona celebrated. There wasn't VAR. So once you look and you see the referee was given the goal in that day and age, that was it. Now he knows that hit his arm. He knows there's Hawkeye, there's VAR. You knew what's going to happen. That's why I felt embarrassed, because when I saw him celebrate, I was like, oh, it must have been a goal. Like, I didn't think, when they said it might have hit his arm, my first thought was, yeah, but he wouldn't have celebrated like that. No, dude. Like, nobody would celebrate. He did. I was like, bro, come on. Don't do that to yourself. Like, you're literally setting yourself up for big failure there. There's no doubt about it whatsoever. We're going to go to some more calls now. Liverpool fans, I want to hear from you as well, because I know it's a huge one for you as well. Thiago Silva's re-signing a contract extension at Chelsea. That's just been announced by Fabrizio Romano. He always leaves it at the right times, doesn't he? We're going to get Anita on now. Anita has been at Stamford Bridge. How you doing?
Oh my God, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh my God, yeah. Listen, when I tell you, I've been Stamford Bridge bare times, but the atmosphere today different. Different kind of atmosphere today. Everything about the match was just sensational. End to end as well, especially after we got the first goal. I think Leicester fully deserved their goal. However, I was a bit pissed off that, it came from a Kovacic mistake. But however, the beef at the end, all I'm going to say is, Ndidi, let me catch you. Let me catch you. He was running his mouth all game. Like, you guys, when I tell you, he'll be on the other end of the pitch running his mouth. Like, relax. Just absolutely. Wait, hold on. Was it Ndidi? I might even be wrong. Yeah. It was Ndidi, innit? But anyway, yeah, it was absolutely great, though. Like, I'm so happy to be back at the bridge. It's unbelievable. The atmosphere was great. I've got Lambs with me as well. Woo! 2-1! 2-1! It was just overall amazing. Shout out to Budweiser for giving me the tickets because I needed this. I really needed this. The energy was out of this world, Terry.
We could hear it through we could hear it through the TV screens tonight. There's just the passion, every kick, and when you got the penalty awarded to you, like the cheer, and because obviously you didn't get the one in the first half.
I have no idea. Guess who we met? We met Thiago Silva's wife as well. She was literally in the stands. Like, she's just there chilling with all of us. Her grandma, Edouard Mendy's kids, like everyone. We're just chilling with all of them. It's just like, you guys don't know that you guys are a big deal. Like, like there's such humble people, great people. Atmosphere was absolutely insane. Like, I have no words. I've lost my voice as well. I have no words. Like, damn, the Grand Dam, he's somewhere back there just walking. And
I saw a few videos why he was in the game, which is grand. In terms of your top four position now, how confident are you now of making that Champions League spot?
Oh, Terry, it's done. That's why today was so important. It's done. We are top four. It is done. I don't care if it's not mathematically done yet. I'm telling you now, top four is ours. It is done. I can't even be happier here. Oh, hey, Dammy.
What's happening?
Football terrace.
Terrace. Hey, on the terrace.
Oh yeah. What's going
on?
He got Edouard Mendy's shirt. Look.
Oh, you got it. Look at that.
We waited for him and he got it.
Was that Terry?
Yes, Terry.
Nice.
Football terrace.
Nice.
I'm with my gang.
What's going on, bro? Look at that. That seems like a good time. I can see that just nice. Like, just be out at real football again, experience the atmosphere and everything else. Wicked. I'll let you crack on with everybody because I know you're busy and you're out and everything. Thank you for calling in and we'll speak soon, yeah?
No problem. See ya.
All right, darling. See you later. Take care. Bye. Thank you very. Look at that. See, I love seeing fans back at football. Legit. Like in the last few days when I've seen fans back, I got the bug for it again. I need to get myself back into stadiums soon. We've got Edward here that says David's hatred of Mount is deep. David and Mount are both the same age, and maybe David is jealousy and a guy his age succeeding for the club David wishes he played for. Seek help, David. Edward is calling you out. Seek help, man. Man said seek help. Seek help. Let's have a whip round for David. David needs a cuddle. David needs a cuddle. Chelsea Love says, David, you need to get psychiatric help to cure your Mount hate. Get well soon. Come on, you Blues. That's two in a bounce. I don't read these before I'll put them up. That's what man was saying. Big up Anita for calling in. Next on the show, we're going to go to Rob Fowler. Rob, welcome to the terrace. You're not unmuted yet. He has muted on now. Who do you support, mate?
I'm a big time Liverpool supporter. I've been supporting since the 90s. Since I opened my eyes to football.
Yeah, what do you want to say, bro?
Well, honestly, just heard this last call. I want to remind Chelsea to not underestimate or forget Villa at Villa Park because I believe that's their last game. So Villa haven't really turned up in these last few weeks, but if they turn up that last game, Chelsea could be very much out of it because Leicester, I think, are playing at home their final game. But yeah, I just wanted to bring on some controversy to the show today and discuss, I think, the most underrated / most overrated players. This is both on the same team, but I just wanted to say Grealish. I wanted to say Grealish is probably the most overrated English player in the Premier League. I think so many people hype him up with big moves, big money moves to so many places. But like, I don't know what's going on with this guy, but he hasn't played over half half the season. So unless he's not playing because he's getting a money move somewhere, I really don't get why people don't see that. People don't see how injury prone somebody like him is. Last season, when Villa missed out on John Grealish due to injury, or sorry, not John Grealish, John McGinn, they were pretty much screwed. They almost got relegated. This season, they're missing arguably the better player, and they're kind of doing a lot better. So I think John McGinn is very underrated on that team, and lots of teams should be opening their eyes out to the greatness of John McGinn. He's very overshadowed by Grealish, and I think that's because of the whole English tax.
I mean, look, I think you're being disingenuous to the fact that per 90 minutes in the last 2 seasons, Jack Grealish has created clear-cut chances on par with KDB in a much lesser team. And that doesn't even include the amount of times he'll play a through ball or will make a cross and no one's on the end of it where they should be. So he doesn't get the statistical chance created. John McGinn's good. Jack Grealish is next level. The English tax thing, listen, of course, if you consume British or English TV to watch football, there's always more hype around the English players. And I'm sure the American channels, the Nigerian channels, the South Korean channels, the German channels do this. I'm sure the German channels and shows that focus on the Premier League talk a lot about Rudiger, talk a lot about Kai Havertz. They talk a lot about Timo Werner because there's a national interest. So I wouldn't worry about that too much. That's just a typical media bias that exists in every single country on planet Earth. But Grealish is a sensational player. He would walk into your Liverpool team, no problem.
No, wait, you know what? On talent, if it was just purely on talent, I believe you, man. He's great. He's amazing. He's great to watch. He's got the leadership qualities. But to miss out on more than half a season, and not like I don't know. I don't think anybody really knows what's wrong with Grealish and why he's not playing for so long. Like it's always
he had
it was a small injury. They brought him back too early. Sorry?
He's had one injury. He's had one injury this season. He still played, I think, 23 games or so in the Premier League. He's had a good campaign for when being fit. He's not renowned as being injury prone. So, I don't know. It's a weird one for someone to come on and say. But listen, I appreciate that, Rob Fowler. Thank you very much for coming on the terrace tonight. Top man. Thank you. Next up, we're going to go to UV. UV, what are you here to say, buddy?
Hi, you're right, Terry.
Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. What's on your mind?
Just 2 things, really. I think it just shows today's game that we need a striker so badly because early on, I think first 20 minutes, we had about 3, 4, 5 chances where a striker like Haaland with a killer instinct. You know when Chilwell, I'm not sure if you watched the game, but a couple of times Chilwell hit it across the box and no one was there to tap it in. And I think a striker with a natural instinct for goal and killer ability would be there and tap it in, and the game's dead from then on, if you get what I mean. So I think getting that striker and this should be our priority to kill them games off early and make it less stressful for us. And then secondly, I just wanted to touch on David's point about Mason Mount. I think Mason Mount's a quality player and thoroughly deserves our player of the season for this year. But I do get David's sort of point about where his end product at times can be a bit better. So he'll do all the hard work, get past a lot of players, get into the box, get into shooting positions and crossing positions. And sometimes the cross is a bit poor or the shot flies over the bar. And so while I do think he's a brilliant player and definitely deserved our sort of player of the season thing, I do understand David's point about the end product, which I think will eventually definitely come because he's a brilliant player and he is still quite young as well. And I think with maturity and as he plays more games, the end product will 100% will come. But I do understand that David's point in saying that, where he says that the end product could be better. But again, I'm not slandering him or anything. I think he's a top player. Just little things just need to sort of polish things like cherry on the cake, if you get what I mean.
I hear that. I certainly hear that. Listen, UV, thank you for calling in and having your say this evening, mate. Top man. No. Thank you very much. Thank you. Next on the show, we're going to go to Liverpool fan. Rack is here. What are you saying, buddy?
Hey, Tel. Yeah, quick point. Just following on from what UV just said and what Dave was saying. I thought Kovacic was really good when he came on. I think he gave them more control, and actually, I agree with David. I think from that point on, Kovacic was better than Mount. Mount's obviously he's had a great season. Don't get me wrong. I think he's surpassed what not just a lot of Chelsea fans have predicted for him this season, but a lot of neutrals have predicted for him. I didn't think he had this level, but so you can't knock him for the season. But yeah, Kovacic was good. In general, the game was pretty dull, and I was kind of flipping between wanting one team to score more and then wanting the other team to score more because I would have probably liked to. Ideally, I would have liked a draw or a Leicester win, but once Chelsea were 2-0 ahead, obviously because potentially it could come down to goal difference between Liverpool and Leicester, then I was like, Chelsea score a few more goals because then that reduces obviously Leicester's goal difference relative to our own, but. Yeah, it was just a one goal margin. So yeah, we'll go into the last game and potentially if we can get a result tomorrow. But yeah, not the greatest game, but Chelsea did what they had to.
Yes, I suppose I looked at. I actually enjoyed tonight's game. I enjoyed it as a neutral because Chelsea were the aggressors, but after the first half, it felt like a typical Tuchel Chelsea performance. Generally, all the puff, all the huff, and but they weren't putting the ball in the back of the net. And there's always that chance that the other team could go up the other end and put the ball in the back of the net. But it was different to the FA Cup final because they were getting in behind. They were making the opportunities. They should. If Werner wasn't as lazy to caught offside and timed his header right, they should have been 2-0 up. Plus, they should have had a penalty at half time. So they were there or thereabouts. And then it was all Chelsea. And then when that Iheanacho goal goes in, it creates that kind of that tension. You actually saw Chelsea's levels go up after conceding, and they were just resolute. They were strong. They didn't really concede any opportunities. I really enjoyed the game tonight. How much pressure are you feeling now, Rack, as a Liverpool fan ahead of tomorrow night's game now?
Pressure's there. I mean, we have to step up, and if we do it, we'll deserve it, and if we don't, we won't. I mean, look, Burnley lost 4-0 against Leeds, but they will have fans back. And I think that's maybe also something that Anita and perhaps other Chelsea fans who think that it's done, top four. Villa can be, in its heyday, Villa Park has been an intimidating place to go. They're only going to have 10,000 fans, but if they create an atmosphere, get the first goal similar to what Leicester did in the FA Cup final, you never know, right? And same with us. If Burnley get the first goal tomorrow, we're going to be in trouble. If we can get a goal ahead, and then that gives us something to hold on to and stay in control of the match, which we've been doing better. Since since Fabinho and what's his name, Thiago have started play. I think they've started 6-7 games and won 6 and drawn 1. So they're forming a really solid partnership in the centre. If we can keep control of games, we're right up there. We've got a really good chance.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's going to be such an interesting last day of the season if you win tomorrow, because you and Leicester will both be on 66 points. Chelsea will be on 67. So it becomes must win for everybody. But it's just, as I say, anything can happen. And like Anita said when she phoned in, there's anything can happen, but there's feeling like, the question we're posing tonight is, have Chelsea done enough? Will they make the top 4 after this win tonight? It would almost feel, I don't know how they would feel come full time on Sunday if they're sitting in 5th place. I mean, it would be, I don't know that. I mean, that could knock the stuffing out of them ahead of the Champions League final. Even equally, they beat Leicester comfortably. Sorry, they beat Villa comfortably 2-0. That gives them an absolute shot in the arm to say, right, let's go into that final now. Almost a free hit because we've made the Champions League. We weren't expected to be here. I'm so excited about this next 11 days of football. It's going to be amazing.
One more thing, I just want to say. It's funny because after the first lockdown happened and they started playing football in empty stadiums, but they had that artificial sound noise coming through. You kind of thought, okay, it's not too bad. It's better than it being empty. But then when you listen to a real football ground with real fans in, it's just when you compare them back to back, it just feels so different. And
Yeah. Do you know what it is? It isn't the when a chance gets missed. It's the things outside of actual football. So it's when the decisions don't go your way. The ironic cheers when you get a decision go your way. When they got the penalty, that kind of way we actually got one. I loved it. When the
the FVAR song as well, which
Yeah, all those sorts of things you're not going to get. When it kicked off between the play, I'm not going to lie, because 9 times out of 10, when football players have a fight, it's all like pushing and it isn't real violence. Do you get what I mean? One of the only times in the Prem, only 2 times I've seen it in the Prem was Lee Bowyer and Kieran Dyer fighting themselves on the same Fran punches. I always laugh because he went for broke when Joey Barton got sent off against City on the famous Aguero day. Do you remember that?
yeah.
And that was because he kicked someone and then he started kicking and punching everybody. And there was a part of me that was like, you might as well get your money's worth. You know, it's a bit like when you get flashed by a speed camera, everyone then slows down. I always think, why? You've been caught. Speed up. Like, you would have been caught. What's the point of slowing down? It don't make any sense. Like, get your money's worth is what I'm saying. So, yeah, it's good when you see the fans kicking off. And I don't know, I could hear it tonight. I could smell the burgers and onions in the air. I was like, I miss being at football so much. But, Rack, listen, I'm sure we'll speak tomorrow night after Burnley beat you 3-0. Speak to you then, mate. Top man, thank you. Lamin here says, serious questions need to be asked of Mike Dean. Yeah, not a good night from him tonight. Not a good night at all. We're going to have Andrew on the show next. Andrew, what are you here to say, mate?
What's happening, Terry?
Yeah, I'm good. Who do you support, Andrew?
Chelsea. Recent supporter because I'm a supporter of Pulisic, actually. So I'm very aware of my bias. I was wondering what you thought about the fact of Tuchel rotating his front three almost every game. There's no consistency. So how are you gonna gauge the balance of the team if you don't start picking a consistent front three or consistent strategy?
I think the 2 things I would say to that. One, and this isn't to try and sound condescending. I don't know how long you've been watching the Premier League. As you say, you're a Pulisic fan that's kind of recent to Chelsea.
Okay. I grew up playing football, so
okay, cool.
Yeah.
And I didn't mean that as a disrespect. I know that some people come to the Premier League quite late. It's a very intense league, a very tough league physically. And this season is very concertinaed. So the gaps in between games is unprecedented. So I think the rotation is, one, to try and keep people fresh. Secondly, when Tuchel came in, I feel he was on a little bit of a free ride in the sense of there was no expectation to win or achieve too much because of the position he took over from. So I think he's been using this as an experiment. Who can I trust? Who can I not? Who do I need? Who I don't? I think the other element is I think there's parts of each player that he needs. So he needs Werner's runs. He needs Werner's movement up top, but needs someone that's a better finisher and that's more clinical as an example. So I think that's why we see a lot of rotation because it's a bit of horses for courses. Next year, though, he does need to try and settle on a particular group. There's no doubt. But I think that's why you're working so hard as a club to try and bring in a Harry Kane, a Lukaku or a Haaland because he wants that spearhead. He wants that main person that barring a bit of rotational injury, Harry Kane or Lukaku is going to start. Mount's going to be the one next to him because Mount plays pretty much every game. And then there's one more slot that's open for a regular. And we'll see what happens there. How confident are you of making top 4 now?
I'm fairly confident. I mean, they got to bring it, you know. You got one more game, you know, it's all on the line. So put your best team out there and give them hell. I think they'll do it for sure. I'm definitely worried about the Champions League, though. That could be embarrassing or it could be a heroic achievement, you know. So it's all on the line.
Yeah, listen, I sort of feel like it's going to be a very close game. I wouldn't say it would be an embarrassing night for either, but I think it's going to be a very edgy close. I wouldn't even expect the game to open up until about 60, 70 minutes. It'll be very tight, very edgy. But we'll start the build up to that next week on the terrace, and it'd be great to get you involved. Top man, Andrew, thanks for coming on tonight. Appreciate that, buddy. Thank you. We're going to do one more call before we bring Daniel and David on to have their Mount debate. I'm so looking forward to hearing this. I need to understand both sides. And if we get raising our super chats, I'll pay for David's first therapy session to help get him over his Mount agenda. Mr. Anthony's with us now. What are you saying, bro?
Morning, Terry. I mean, morning for me, as always.
Yes.
Yeah, it was a nervy game. It's just the fact that 9 times out of 10, we will beat most of the teams. But that one game, we tend to lose. But the thing is, I would have taken this game over the FA Cup any day of the week. However, I was pretty gutted on the day that we lost the FA Cup. But this win is massive. This win needed to happen, and the way we want it needed to happen as well. And if you look at the stats, the first half we had 10 chances created, shots on goal, and shots on goal, but we had only 2 shots on target. If that was a Harry Kane or a Lukaku or a Haaland, maybe 2 or 3 of them might have gone in, and we would have had that game wrapped up. So people might say, like, people, there is this agenda that is trying to come out saying, trying to like hurt Tuchel, or like trying to come out with the frank bias. Basically, it's just there is so much that man can do. He can get you to the edge, he can get the whole team set up right, and he can get everything sorted out. If you can't finish it, it's not on him. He can't make Werner score. He can't make Pulisic score. And I thought Pulisic's and Mount's and all 3 of them, they could have made better decisions on the final third as well.
Yeah.
Pulisic tried to take on too many people. He could have just taken on one person and tried to get the ball out. He tried to take 2 or 3 at the back. Sometimes it's impossible. But at the end of the day, it was a low block team. I think we could have done a little bit better with the Giroud. I hope Giroud had like at least another 10% pace in him, so he could run a bit more faster. But if we had like crosses coming in from James or Chilwell, 9 times out of 10, Giroud would bury it inside. He's a brilliant header of the ball, and that's my only criticism of the game. But I love the spirit. I love the fans coming into the stadium. I think the fans gave a little bit of an edge to the players. They gave a little bit of everything that the players needed today, and it gave even Timo the confidence to just go on, even though he was missing that first half from him. It was a roller coaster from him, that first half. Jesus Christ, handballs, offside goals, penalties, everything you needed from him. But the thing is, everybody criticizes him, but you still want to have him there. He's such a hard worker, and that's why I think people love him.
No, I hear you. I do. Listen, Mr. Anthony, thank you for coming on and having your say, mate. I really appreciate it. Top man. We're going to bring Daniel and David back in. I know there's a few people in here that are asking questions to me right now. So now Terry, there's reports of an £80 million bid from Chelsea to Sancho. I haven't read it. I am going to just say 2 words to you. The Sun. It's from the Sun newspaper. So you can call them credible, but remember what they are as a newspaper. Just remember that. So it's what I always love about transfer window, where people are like, I don't want to listen to or believe the Sun all year and anything they ever say about anything. They just linked me to a player I want. Oh, yeah, it's all right. I'll buy him now. Do you know what I mean? Love it. Gentlemen, though, I'm going to leave you 2 in here by yourselves. How do you want to do this little debate here? Because I'm feeling like David can go first. I'm going to give David 2 minutes to say what he's got to say, and then 2 minutes for Daniel to respond, so we don't go like over the top too much. And then the viewers, you can decide not about who you agree with, but whose arguments are best. I say I had debates done properly. It's a Tory versus Labour. It's Mount versus anti-Mount. We'll do it that way around. Does that sound cool?
Cool.
And by me, man.
David, you're going to go first and tell me basically why you think Mount's trash, or whatever it is you think about Mount. I don't quite know what it is. Have your say, and we'll go from there. So when you see me disappear, your 2 minutes is going to start in 3, 2, 1.
Basically, my point with Mason is I don't think he's a bad player, but he is so overgassed that there's almost no room to criticize him at all. Today, the amount of times in the game he will dribble round a player and will get to the byline, and it's like pick out the best option or play a simple pass, and he'll play a pass to someone so it goes down as a chance created, but it was the wrong option to pick out. That's where my issue is. Again, another like against Soyuncu, he got to the byline. Timo Werner was literally on the penalty spot, unmarked, and then he passed it to Pulisic near post and that wasn't the right option. There's a chance created, which was great, but it wasn't the right chance that was created. Another example, I can't remember who it was exactly. I think it might have been Aspi that got to the byline. It got cut back to Mason, and then all Mason had to do was quite simply take a touch and then shoot. But instead, he just shot straight away. You had so much more time just to compose yourself and hit the ball. That's all. I'm not saying he's bad. I'm just saying he lacks composure. He does all the hard stuff really well. When it comes to the simple, let me make the right chance, let me pick out the right option. That's where his problems start for me. When I said he was also Daniel, very smart what you did with the Kovacic thing. Let me say this: Kovacic. When I said Kovacic had a better game, that was before the mistake. I didn't say it afterwards at full time. Before the mistake, I thought Kovacic had a better game. I thought Kovacic was our best midfielder. I thought Timo Werner, overall, even though, yes, he scored an offside goal and, he's always offside and whatever, he was still better than Mason. He definitely won a penalty. Definitely won a penalty for the first one. But, we won anyway, so I'm not gonna be too upset about that. And then he won another penalty. And again, you go in through our season. Timo Werner doesn't have, loads of goals, but he definitely contributes to this team so much more than Daniel ever gives him credit for. That's my 2 minutes. Done.
So much more than Daniel ever gives him credit for, but not so much more than Mason Mount. He doesn't contribute to the team more than Mason Mount. Can you agree with that?
They're about that. I'm saying right now.
They're about this. You know what? Let me have my time because you're not even gonna listen.
Especially ever since Tuchel's come in.
You've had your time. You've had your time. Let me start by saying to the viewers at home, Mason Mount is second in the Premier League for most chances created, and Timo Werner is second for big chances missed. The correlation is clearly there. I could even stop with that because it's clearly there that Mason Mount is creating big chances for this team and this team is missing. And Timo Werner is one of the big reasons as to why we are missing big chances in the Premier League. You want to talk about Mason Mount being overrated or overvalued, bro? We can only go by what is happening. Your favorite guy, Kai Havertz, Timo Werner, all these big signings, they haven't lived up to their potential yet. I have no doubts that Kai Havertz more than Timo Werner, but I have no doubts that these guys will be great for us going forward. But as of now, Mason Mount is still our best attacker, our most consistent attacker. That is why he won the Player of the Year, and it's not even a debate. It wasn't even up for a debate, in my opinion, who the Player of the Year was. That's the first thing. When you talk about Mason Mount's decision making, he's 22. What happens is, as Chelsea fans, what we do is two things that we do. The first thing that we do is when players play bad, we always think of the nostalgia and say we want this guy to come back into the team because you haven't seen him for a while. And that's what happens. And it's slowly reaped into your thinking as well. You're methodical, and I give you credit for your analysis a lot of the time. But the trap that you fall into is that when players aren't playing well, you sometimes think, yeah, it's the guy on the bench that needs to come in. But the interesting factor to all of that, when I say that point, is that Mason Mount is the only consistent player that never needs to come out of the team. Even in your thinking, you indirectly understand Mount's importance, but because you don't like the way he's overvalued by the team, you start to criticize him. And that is a problem for me because you have to just realize that this guy is, one, the future captain of this club. He's two, the most consistent player currently that we have. And three, you have to understand we live in England. There's going to be a media agenda in or for Mason Mount. I don't know why you're trying to argue that. If we were in Germany, if we were in America, you see the American fans who come on, who just believe Pulisic is the best thing since sliced bread. We're in England. Let this agenda go, bro. And then on top of it, on top of everything else, when we're talking about Mason Mount in general as a player and what he offers to the team currently, bro, he's undroppable. When we're talking about the constants, something that's a constant, something that doesn't change, something that's almost immovable. The two, I think, undroppable players currently in our team are Antonio Rudiger and Mason Mount. And it's no coincidence, really.
There we go. Listen, both of you slightly went over. I let Daniel a bit longer because David started doing a typical Tory thing and talking over man when he was speaking. Do you know what I mean? Never letting people finish it. That was a good debate for me. Viewers, you've either got to write Daniel or David, right?
It's very obvious. I'm going to lose anyway. There's no point.
Who wins? I need to know now. Just write the name in and we'll see who wins, who gets the W, who made the best arguments. Look at this here. David bodied. We hear Danny. Oh, look at it. Look at it.
I'm telling you, people already are on Daniel's side. So it's harder for me to drag them over.
But David, okay, just refute the main point. The crux of it is Mason Mount is second in most chances created, and yes, you got one, David. Mason Mount is second. Mason Mount is second in most chances created, and Timo Werner is second or third, I believe, but it's like one. Probably you add today's chance, so he'd be second or first now. In big chances missed. Like, how do you refute that? Because that's a clear correlation.
Again, I'm not going to sit here and tell you that Timo Werner has been like amazing. That's not my point. My point is that especially since Tuchel's come in, I see both of them having very key roles in the squad. We've played games without Mason Mount and won. We haven't played a game without Timo Werner and won. That is a stat that people don't. Again,
I remember
one of those games was Man City.
Yeah, but I understand that. But
big chances missed. I know he's missed a lot of chances. But again, loads of big strikers miss big chances. I'm like before. No, genuinely.
No. Wait. You have to wait. No, because I don't want to forget. The reason why you have to wait on that one is because you can only overcompensate for Timo Werner's big chances missed when he's also converting at an almost similarish rate. Bro, the big chances missed in Europe right now. I believe Lewandowski, correct me if I'm wrong, Terry. Lewandowski's in the top 3. I think Haaland is there.
No, Lewandowski and Haaland are very high.
But that's because they get an abundance.
So many. Yeah, I agree.
And they score so many. Do you know what I'm saying? And that's why I don't like the overcompensation for Timo Werner. I said it on the last stream. If someone was to ask me, and I'm not biased. I'm very pragmatic when it comes to the players at Chelsea. I think Timo Werner does provide an element to him. That's why when people talk about the Moratas of this world, I disagree. I think Timo Werner does provide an element to him. But my point is, don't overcompensate for him. Is he the guy to win us the league? Because I see a situation next year where we buy a striker and he plays less games than he's playing right now.
Daniel, I agree with you. I don't think Timo Werner is the main striker. But when I'm talking about today, Mason Mount is not the man of the match. He isn't. I'm sorry.
I've agreed with that. I agree with that.
There are so many games this year where I will come on and say today Mason wasn't the guy, and everyone will come on and be like, "Oh my God, what's wrong with you?"
I think you missed from Mason Mount's performances. It's I don't think it's statistically provable in terms of you have to look for the stats behind it. But it's his drive, it's his determination, it's his continuation in the press. Now, I know what the caveat straight away is. I'm passion merchant. I know Rio Ferdinand recently said. A few years ago said he worries about how good a player really is when the first thing people say about them is they work hard. Yeah. But it's not the first thing you say about Mason Mount is that he works hard and he presses hard. It's part of what he does. And I don't know if any of you saw Sir Alex Ferguson's interview that he did today. I don't know if any of you saw that.
I haven't seen it. I saw the quote though of you might in order to be a good player, you have to work hard.
So I was just listening to it because Gary Neville was interviewing him. I always find it really interesting. Gary Neville's quite cocksure of himself and serious, but when he was interviewing Fergie, he was sitting there like this. He's like, "Hello, Boston." It's lovely to see. David Beckham actually said years ago when Beckham had just retired, he hadn't played for Fergie for nearly 20 years or whatever, right? Said he was at an event and someone said, Sir Alex is over there. He went to say hello. And just before Sir Alex came over, he had a glass of wine. He hid the glass of wine behind his back. He'd normally tell me off. It's a habit. But I want to try and get the quote up here, what he said. Because this is, I look at him and I think this is the epitome of Mason Mount as well. This is the exact quote from Fergie. He says, even your best player, he may be your most talented player. He has to show that he is prepared to work as hard as every other player in the team. Working hard is a real talent. And I love that because I think there are some players that all they really have is working hard at the elite end of the spectrum. But with Mason Mount, I think he's very good technically. I think he's very, very good on the ball. I think he's going to get better and better each year when it comes to goals and creativity. But he works hard, he drives, he shows leadership. And I sometimes look at him as the guy. I think if there was games like tonight, if he had a night off and was like, I can't be bothered to work hard, I think that was spread amongst your team, which is why people recognize him as a future captain. And it's those elements of leadership, which I don't think he gets credited for. But this is where I do listen to ex-pros, because I think ex-professionals and ex-sports people see that. I think they see the mental side of him, the leadership elements of him, and they recognize it anecdotally through their own experiences, which is why I listen to them. So I don't think it always has to be technically the best for him to be the driving force behind your team.
Sorry, just as a quick point, and just to add to that, I think let's not get it twisted. Timo Werner works hard as well. He works his socks off. Like, he's always running. He's always trying. You can see it on his face. Like, even when he celebrated, you could tell it was almost like relief because he really wants to score as well. And that's what I love that in him. Like, it's the intangibles. Like, you don't want a striker who looks languid and looks like he doesn't care. The problem comes when you play for Chelsea Football Club. Your chances, the misses, they become more high profile. They become more glaring. And when he continuously does it, and think about it like this, David. If Timo Werner could dribble past like 4 players, but he was still missing chances, I don't think we'd be on his neck as more. Do you know what I'm saying? Do you get what I'm trying to say? But it's because also the technical side of things, the dribbling, that sometimes in his hold-up play, he can let you down. Sometimes there was a time we had a break on the corner and he could see the play.
And he headed it. And he headed it.
And that's the point. So when you look at the big chances as well by Lewandowski, by Harry Kane, by these guys, they're creating some of them themselves. And I'm not saying they dribble past everybody, but sometimes it's just that their movement creates an extra chance, which I don't think the team is naturally like overtly more creative. It's movement. It's everything else that creates it. But also what Werner isn't doing, which those elite people do, is that he ain't scoring the half chances. Like he isn't getting the ball at the edge of the box where he's got no right to score, dropping the shoulder and burying it in that bottom corner, which we see Lewandowski do and Harry Kane do on a very high on a regular basis. And at the end of the day, David, when it comes to this conversation, I'm going to quote you here before we go to KJ. How many times have you come on the show in the last 4 months and gone, my German manager? How many times have you said that?
A lot. But again, you know why I say it though?
No, you come on and say it. The reason I'm bringing that up is your German manager disagrees with you. He wants a new striker because they're talking to 2 of the best in the world, and he starts Mason Mount every game. So your manager that you love and respect disagrees with you. Shouldn't that be enough to change your mind?
He doesn't start every game because, again, when you look at the percentage of like the games played to the games that we actually done, he's played. No, but
Has Mason Mount started all of your biggest games?
Yeah, exactly.
Or the lion's share. But you're missing my point here. You're missing my point. Your manager plays him regularly, gives him starting berths, praises him highly. But just voted player of the year, by the way. I know it's a fan award, but he's got all of that. Sings his praises highly. I've not heard him say a bad word about him. He's never dragged him off halfway through a half, dragged him off after bringing him on as a sub at halftime, anything like that, as far as I remember. But he is looking for a new striker. So your manager.
But again,
David, he thinks you're a dickhead.
Again.
Yeah, tell David he's a dickhead. He said.
Like Tuchel would have been briefed before, like he gets to the club and says, "You cannot say anything bad about Mason." Like I'm sorry. In his first, I'm sorry. Every single time there's a press conference, minimum he gets 2 questions about Mason. He knows I'm not going to sit here and say anything bad about him because he's already on the negative.
We just did a stream like 2 days ago or yesterday where I said Simon Phillips posted up the quote where like literally for half the interview he was basically saying what Mason Mount can do to improve. Although he ended the interview by saying, however, he's a key part of my team, he basically listed off all the weaknesses in Mason Mount. So I disagree with that notion where he's on the edge and doesn't want to talk bad about Mason Mount.
I heard a rumor, David. David, I've heard a rumor that you've taken them quotes from Tuchel. You're using that as your porn material, brother. I've heard. You're like, oh yeah, my German manager. We had a question here that I wanted to David Wood is gospel. We had a question that Mr. Anthony put up. Just quickly, he says, "What do you guys think about people calling our football boring?" He's obviously addressing David and Daniel here. I'm not a Chelsea fan, in case anyone's wondering. I think it's entertaining and efficient. That guy Amati was disrespecting us so much. I wanted us this win. I would love your thoughts. Do any of you see your football as boring?
No. But anyway, even if it was boring, I don't care. I just want to win.
Yeah, how you doing, Kay? Are you good, bro?
Yeah, man. Chelsea always doing the job we need them to do. Second is confirmed. We love to see it. I got a question for the Chelsea fans. Man United are potentially going to finish with 74 points to 71 points. That's what we can improve our points on. So that is a 5 point to 7 point difference. If I could do maths. No. 5 point to 8 point difference, yes. Anyway, who cares? Considering your position with Tuchel and where you've been and where you come from last season, do you guys feel like you've progressed? Because right now you've only got a 1 point difference from where you was last year to now, and the max you can get is a 4 point difference.
Can I take this one?
Yeah.
First of all, I don't think you can compare. Our manager got sacked, so start of a new process. I don't even believe we should be third. Obviously, I know Tuchel's put us in a position where we can now finish the season third, but it's hard to judge progress when things have changed. It's like bringing in a new CEO for a company and they have a totally different vision to what the last CEO had. You can't judge the same progress. It's always judged from when you come in. And obviously, I think Tuchel needs a bit more time to see where, there needs to be a bit more time to see where the progress lies. So I'd say next season, you would know whether there's truly progress within this team, depending on the players that we get and whatnot. I think Man United have progressed. They can say they've progressed because you've had the same manager, brought in new players. You finished third last year on goal difference, tied it with Chelsea, and now you're convincingly finished second. So United have progressed, but I think Chelsea's one is yet to be seen. I mean, if we win the Champions League, I mean, all this progression talk is almost irrelevant in comparison because winning the Champions League is like the ultimate goal. So, yeah, man, I don't want to judge Tuchel's season compared to Man United season when he's had half a season where all he's been doing is really been trying to catch up.
I wasn't trying to compare both teams. I was just talking about because I'm thinking about with Man United fans, a lot of them will say we haven't progressed and we haven't moved forward, and this second place is false due to COVID, due to other teams, blah blah blah. But we legit have got more points, more wins than last year, and less losses as well. So I was seeing it from a Chelsea point of view.
The difference is when it comes to the progression point, in my opinion, Chelsea fans believe that if we get the striker that we need, we can win the league. I still believe Man United fans don't think they can win the league next year. Which just shows
I think Chelsea got better squad than last year. It was just not work. The thing is, the only reason it wasn't working under Lampard was personal relationships, as opposed to even his technical or coaching
and tactical deficiencies.
Yeah. Look, Tuchel's definitely an improvement on him, but I do think you would have made top four if Lampard's squad were behind him, if that made sense. I still think because you did it last year and you had a better squad. So I think it's there. The progression thing's always so interesting because I do look at points as a way of assessing progression. But there comes to a point where points isn't always a true barometer and positions is, because if 3 or 4 teams improve at the same time as you, there's only a set amount of points each season that can be divided by every single team. And sometimes you're not in complete control of how good everybody else is at the same time. But you know what? At the beginning of the season, very few Man United fans predicted a higher place finish than 4th. Most didn't predict that we'd win anything. It was, I hope we do. So for me, as they've been progressing, yes. Is it enough where I feel comfortable that we can challenge for a Premier League next year? No. Where we look at Chelsea, they get that striker. If you get Harry Kane or Lukaku, I'm shitting my pants. You guys are going to be serious. And I think that's the answer. We've got a super chat here that says David is the only Chelsea fan that doesn't like Mount. Please don't say that you don't get help now, is what Hussein says. Sven put a comment in earlier and sort of said we haven't really touched on it yet, but VAR needs to be a talking point. You know what's mad about VAR is I was always a big advocate for it when it first came in because I felt like, and I am still at times. So when you see Chelsea's goal in the FA Cup final, I think it was offside. That in the old money could have cost Leicester the victory. So I like it for those reasons. There are times where I think it's been very, very good indeed. I feel like in the last 3 or 4 months, I feel like it's completely lost its way. I feel like they're not overturning stonewall decisions because they're protecting the referee, as opposed to just. I look at it when it first came out. I know there was always mistakes and there was always debate, but I felt like I remember the penalty we got very early on this season against Newcastle, where it looked like Newcastle won the ball, and you can clearly see that Rashford got his shin studded. Referee went and looked at it, changed his mind. And we're seeing so many overturns. Now it's almost impossible to get an overturn. Do you get where I'm coming from? It's almost. I know you guys did tonight. You guys didn't get an overturn tonight. They just said no. Did you say it was a foul? Yes, it was actually in the box, so he gave the penalty. It wasn't like. Do you get where I'm coming from? And I feel like now they're trying to protect referees so much that it's actually. There's almost no point having VAR now. And I know there's meant to be. Is it a clear and obvious mistake? But I don't understand what that means. I legitimately don't understand what that means anymore.
That's exactly what I'm talking about, because let's stop using VAR as almost as a shield for these referees. These referees stink, as in the standard of refereeing has actually gone to dust. And I keep saying it for all the people out there. Go watch Tifo Football. They break it down. It's the fact that refereeing decisions have always been subjective. Like, I don't understand. That's why we debate decisions. Some decisions are a foul. Some in other people's eyes aren't a foul. They're all subjective. So when you get this clear and obvious thing, you've already blurred and skewed the lines now, because now we don't even know who's in the right. We don't know who's in the wrong. The guy advising him obviously thinks it's clear and obvious, but the ref who was watching it didn't see it and doesn't give it. So you don't have that discrepancy there. Like, let's not get it twisted. And I don't know if David feels that way. That's why I'm a bit annoyed. Mike Dean could have cost us today. Like, that was that. I don't understand how you saw that. No one was blocking him. He was like 2 yards away from it, and he does not believe that's a penalty. Like, he could have cost us today single-handedly. Like, I don't care about the VAR because he saw it. There wasn't anyone blocking him. He didn't need any help after that. He's probably the most experienced referee that we've got in the Premier League.
VAR though becomes null and void for me, because Mike Dean's seen it, and I think VAR. I don't even think it needs to. I know that the idea is there is a person there that speaks to him and says, "I think you need to go and review this." But and subjective decisions are hard, because some people have said it isn't a penalty because Werner's put himself there and hasn't actually made an attempt to win the ball. So actually, the contact's been initiated by Werner and not by someone else. I think what they actually need to give to us, if they want to save this now, is they need to let us hear what they're saying. Because if Mike Dean said, "I don't want to review it because I believe the contact was initiated by Werner, thus I don't think it's a foul," whatever it is, at least we understand where he's coming from. The problem is we never understand the decision-making process. We know what they've given, but we don't know how they've come to that decision or why they've come to that decision. In life, we care more as people about the hows and the whys than we do the whats. That's what we get frustrated with. Where VAR is still great is like Werner's goal tonight. Without VAR, Werner scores a handball. It's those decisions where I feel like where it's brilliant, because those are the kind of decisions where, a bit like goal line technology, the amount of times we've seen teams score goals that shouldn't have. Well, you guys had a goal scorer again. You guys literally went out of a Champions League because of a goal score, if that makes sense. So I think there's elements of it that work, but I think what they need to do to elevate it now is give us the opportunity to hear what's being said, because at least I think if we heard the rationale, we'd at least understand why they did what they did. And if that's what Mike Dean was to say, you may disagree with him because it's subjective, but at least you know it isn't a corruption thing because you're hearing what he's saying in real time.
It works in rugby. Like I watch rugby a lot, and it works. Like, I've seen them talk. People can hear it. The players can hear it. It's audible. He says what you're doing wrong. Like, he'll say number 7, da-di-da-di-da-di-da-di-da. So, like, I don't understand what the secrecy in football, why there needs to be that. I'm not asking for the post-match interview for refs, because I understand why that wouldn't make sense. But for them to explain their decisions on the pitch, I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Yeah, again, I was listening to someone talk earlier. Nick said it earlier, and I've seen a few tweets about it. Bruno Fernandes tonight gets I love the fact he got an assist for not touching the ball because it winds up his haters. Bruno himself said, "I don't know if I touched it." Like, him saying, "I don't know," he's basically, "I have no idea."
I didn't touch it, but I'll take the assist.
yeah. Fair play to him. But they have to give him the assist, otherwise they're admitting they've given an offside goal. They're never going to admit that. The point is, you might actually. So what a few people have explained it as, including Neeks, is they can't conclusively tell whether he's touched it or not. And maybe there is a bylaw that we don't understand as fans that means, well, we can't quite say whether he has or he hasn't. So the rule states we have to say, we have to. We
stick with the original
I have
decision.
To stop you there. But that's why that's a problem, because with the offside rule, you can't conclusively say when the ball has been struck, because like we saw in the images of the Thiago Silva one, like they were using an image where the ball had left his foot. and it was that close.
No, Daniel. That
No. Look, wait, KJ.
No,
I'm not saying.
I'm not saying
you got wrong.
to correct you. That image is not the ball leaving his foot. That image is just the motion of the ball. Like he hasn't left his foot yet. Like it's just basic.
You can't scientifically prove when the ball has left.
Guys,
I'm sorry.
But we're splitting two different arguments.
Yeah,
here.
no, offside for me is like just offside.
Yeah, exactly. My point,
like that one's consistent.
That one is consistent because everyone signs up to the same tech. So there are some times where there's going to be freeze framed and the ball's going to look like it's like longer because of the way. But everyone will suffer with that. So it's fair if that makes sense because everyone. My point about Bruno's is I don't understand what they have or haven't seen, and none of us do. But I know it's great that we're debating it, but none of us really know what's been said. If we knew what they've said, we wouldn't be arguing. If they turned around and said, because of bylaw 2.701, it means this, we'd all just go, I've learned something new. That's the problem. None of us know the laws like a referee does, and we don't get it because we're not being told. And even their statements are always BS because it's just sort of like some weird generic corporate answer. But yeah, I just sort of, for me, I feel it's important because I have seen it save teams on many occasions. I understand people get annoyed when somebody's offside by a millimeter. I don't mind that because no matter what threshold you give, there's always going to be a millimeter offside. Like that's just going to happen. That's math. You can't get away from that. But it's the lack of overturns when it's clearly a penalty. Ironically, people work in the other direction. I remember the penalty that Brighton got against Liverpool this season, where I don't remember the player, but clearly kicked
Danny Welbeck.
Danny Welbeck's boot. Yeah. And everyone's like, nah, that weren't a pen. That's where it becomes confusing. Well, that one actually was the right decision because they didn't give it. But it's the lack of overturns where a ref makes a clear-cut decision now. And it's almost like to overturn it, it needs to be almost this element of I didn't see anything as opposed to, I've said no pen, so it isn't going to be a pen. That's where I'm getting a bit frustrated because some of these decisions are clearly obvious. They're clearly pens and there doesn't seem to be a check. And even if the check's done and we don't get to see the replay, let us officially
know it's happened. Yeah,
it stops the frustration. And I think what you would do is you would stop a lot of the criticism towards VAR, and people would be more accepting of the decisions that are put up on the screens that we see. I think, but it's just about.
But again, the problem with that is VAR by nature will benefit someone and not benefit somebody else. So Gary Lineker has been very vocal against VAR. However, on Saturday when it came in his favour, he's releasing tweets saying, "I love VAR." That consistency again, like with people, isn't there, and that by nature, that's the problem with VAR. Like people aren't consistent anyway, so you get into a sort of grey area where it's going to be there, but you're never going to end up with it being 100% right for everybody. Yeah, well, again, I've been VAR's like biggest advocate probably compared to most people, but tonight I look at the Werner one and go, how it's not been given, I'm not quite sure. But but again, if the ref went, I've seen it, and I don't think it's a penalty because of ABC, then
I don't think VAR is a problem in that circumstance. It's just the lack of clarity that we're getting because I think the protocol is we don't get the ref unless the referee says I didn't see contact. We don't tell him to go look at it anymore. Well, I think earlier on in its usage, it was a case of, listen, I think you made a mistake there. And I think referees, they're trying to protect the referee's integrity, which ironically is taking away more and more integrity week in, week out, and making things worse. I really think it is. But there we go. Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we're back tomorrow. More content as usual. Transfer window picking up. Liverpool, Burnley in the evening. But well done to Chelsea for picking up the 3 points tonight. Manchester United have secured second place trophy. Yes. Buzzing about that tonight.
Second worst, second worst, second place in Premier League history. Let's go, baby.
Yeah. We're the first losers. We're the first losers this year.
Away from that, though, if you guys don't win the Europa League, Cam is in
trouble. Daniel.
Let me just say that.
Okay? Let's not talk about Daniel.
You as well.
Since Drogba's left, we won 4 out of 16 finals. Let's not chat, please.
Us not winning I keep saying this to people. Don't go into that Champions League final having any sort of entitlement because we should not be winning that final. End of.
Wait. What happened to you, Daniel? Weren't you the same person saying you can't go into things with no risk and no failure. You can't just go in there thinking, we're there now.
Oh, no.
You have to actually
One sec, KJ. Let me clarify. The nothing to lose thing is if we don't perform, put out a good performance. But when we talk about peak levels, because Champions League final, both teams should be playing at their peak levels. Man City's peak level is not even like Chelsea aren't even in the same stratosphere as Man City when it comes to peak level. So that's how I see it.
Neek says Daniel is a. Listen, everyone. Listen, we'll be building up to all these games early part of next week, and I'm actually very, very scared, to be honest with you. And I'm actually scared. I'm actually more scared of the fallout I'm going to get if we don't win. Man United not winning. It's crazy. Listen, everyone who's tuned in tonight, phoned in, super chatted, both on Hear the Football Terrace and on Give Me Sport. Thank you very, very much indeed. But until next time, take care. Goodbye. God bless.